Imagine this. You're in a lab, sitting in front of a machine with buttons labeled 15 volts to 450 volts. A scientist in a white coat tells you to press a button that delivers an electric shock to a person in another room. You hear their screams. They beg you to stop. But the scientist calmly tells you, please continue. Would you do it? Would you keep pressing the button? Most people say, no way. I'd never hurt someone just because I was told to. But in 1961, a psychologist named Stanley Milgram put this to the test, and what he found shocked the world. What happened? Milgram recruited volunteers for what they thought was a simple study on learning and memory. The setup was this. Participants were told to play the role of a teacher. Another person, an actor, though the participant didn't know this, played the learner. The learner was strapped to a chair in another room, and the teacher was told to give them electric shocks every time they answered a question incorrectly. Now, here's the catch, the shocks weren't real. But the participants didn't know that. They could hear the learner screaming in pain, begging them to stop, and eventually going silent. And yet, 65% of people went all the way to 450 volts, a level labeled danger, severe shock. Yes, 2/3 of ordinary people kept pressing the button, even when they thought they were seriously hurting someone. All because an authority figure told them to. What does this mean for us? First, people obey authority more than they realize. We like to think we're independent thinkers, but Milgram's experiment proved that when someone in a position of power tells us to do something, most of us will comply, even if it goes against our morals. This explains a lot about history. It's why soldiers carry out orders they don't agree with. Why employees stay silent when they see something unethical. Why do people follow rules even when they know they're wrong? Second, we justify our actions by shifting responsibility. The participants in Milgram's study weren't evil. They didn't enjoy hurting others. But when asked why they continued, most of them said, I was just following orders. This psychological trick, shifting blame to someone else, makes it easier to do things we'd normally never do. It's a reminder that just following orders is never an excuse. Third, we all have a choice. Not everyone in the experiment obeyed. Some people refused to continue, even when pressured. And that's the biggest lesson. We always have a choice. Just because an authority figure tells you something doesn't mean they're right. Whether it's a boss, a teacher, or a leader, question everything. Ask yourself, is this really okay? Do I agree with this? Milgram's experiment was controversial because it revealed an uncomfortable truth. Under the right circumstances, almost anyone can be manipulated into doing harm. But it also showed that those who resist, those who say no, can make a difference. So here's something to think about. Have you ever done something just because an authority figure told you to, even when it didn't feel right? Let me know in the comments. And if this made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.